Emily, what do you think is important out of today, which is, of course, the warm-up day?
Well, I heard Judge Barrett say very clearly that Justice Scalia is her model for a justice. And she talked about him interpreting the Constitution as he believed it was written and what it meant when it was written at the nation's founding. And what that means for the law is lots of really big changes. So, for example, Justice Scalia thought that the Affordable Care Act was unconstitutional based on his understanding of how the Commerce Clause was written in the 1780s. Justice Scalia thought that Roe versus Wade was incorrectly decided and made it pretty clear that he would overturn it when he was on the court. And so I think we actually have a clearer picture of what a Justice Barrett will mean for the Supreme Court than we've had for the last few nominations. There isn't really mystery here about how she would see her role.
Yeah, you mentioned that. I mean, she has far less time on the bench than some other past nominees. But the type of writing that she's done, as well as some of her opinions, are pretty clear. I mean, you mentioned health care, which was such a key issue today. She's on record being very critical of even the way that Chief Justice Roberts used a potentially or somewhat conservative rationale to rescue or keep Obamacare on the books, Emily.
Yeah, she is on the record about that. I want to make clear one thing that I was nervous got a little obscured today. The current challenge before the court, which the court will hear on November 10th to the Affordable Care Act, is a pretty it's a very thin challenge legally. There is less meat on the bones here. I wasn't a big believer in the merits of the previous two challenges, but this one is very thin. And so I do think it's important to keep in mind that if indeed a Justice Barrett turns into a deciding vote to overturn the Affordable Care Act, it will be on very thin ice. That is not a kind of necessary or inevitable outcome, even for a conservative jurist.
Right. You're making the point, I'll bring Ellie in here, that it just depends how cynical people want to be about the courts. It is true that the Supreme Court does still resolve many things at near unanimous votes, all sorts of technical things that are not always tied to the voting bloc of the party of the appointment. But, Ellie, people are concerned about the Obamacare one, not because it's a strong argument, to Emily's point. Obamacare has been upheld many times, but because it could be a political grab that where you didn't have the votes last time with Roberts, you might have it now.
Look, the ACA was already in dangerous condition when RBG was still alive. The Republicans who are telling you right now that the ACA is safe because the challenge is so thin are the same people who told us that that challenge was really thin when it came up to the lower court where Republicans won. And then when it went up to the Fifth Circuit where the Republicans won. So while I agree legally it's a dumb argument, being a dumb argument does not stop Republicans when they get it in their mind to do something. Right. So for the Republicans on the Senate Judiciary Committee to act like they don't know how Amy Coney Barrett is going to vote on the ACA, how they don't know how she's going to vote on issues of a woman's right to choose, is intellectually dishonest. The only reason why she is being put forward as a nominee is because they are confident in her positions as opposed to the positions of, say, a John Roberts. If the Republicans were confident that Roberts was with them, as he is 80% of the time, they would not be trying so hard to push forward a 6-3 majority on the court. They would be happy with their 5-4 majority on the court.
Right. As you say, it's about the results, not padding the voting bloc. And it is a turning point, as we've emphasized in our coverage, because this is the first time Trump is switching someone, not replacing, for example, Scalia with someone who's Scalia-ish or maybe a little extra Scalia on the top, but rather a complete shift. Hey, I'm Ari Melber from MSNBC. You can see more of our videos right here, or better yet, subscribe to our YouTube channel below. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us, and we appreciate that.